Good afternoon, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for the 10th of October 2016. Let's take a look at the current sea surface temperature anomalies. Fancy way of saying that water temperatures are either above or below the long-term average, departures from normal. You notice here this blue area should stick out pretty substantially for you, the La Nina-ish look. Not technically or officially a La Nina yet, but you think it's got to be getting close. You also notice the cooling overall of the Northeast Pacific here, and even throughout this region, what a lot of people refer to as the Eastern Pacific main development region. Contrast that to a very warm Atlantic overall, way, way, way ahead of myself, but if this were to stay similar to this through next year, and this continues like it's going, then you bet 2017 will also be a very busy hurricane season. But you know, we're still in this season, so I'll stick to that for now. You can tell a couple of interesting things here. These little blues that showed up, that's the cold wake left from Matthew's track, churning up the water along its route. Nevertheless, though, the Western Atlantic, the Gulf, and the Caribbean still quite a bit above the long-term average water temperature-wise. And the upper ocean heat content, very warm in the Western Atlantic basin. It is elsewhere, but really this region is shut down for now. It's the Western Caribbean here and the Gulf of Mexico, pretty much from, we'll call it central Louisiana coast west. More than likely no more worries this hurricane season. You never say never. Something can come along and break precedents, but really the focus from here on out is going to be, for me anyway, generally this box where something could develop and maybe threaten Florida, come into the Yucatan, and the greater Antilles. Obviously, Haiti is the absolute last place that we need anything anytime soon. Nicole is still out there, and it is moving slowly right now, but expected to pick up speed and turn to the northeast with a possible direct hit on Bermuda. Still several days away, and this could change. It could be way over here or up here or right down the middle like the forecast track shows for now. So we'll be watching this very closely. One of the arguments in favor of maybe something developing later in the month in the Caribbean Sea, first of all, it's climatology, but also the European model, the ECMWF, indicating some chance of MJO expansion out here into phases 8 and 1, which favors the Western Hemisphere, generally speaking. The GFS and its ensemble members much more robust with that MJO pulse, and what the MJO does is brings large-scale upward motion or divergence in the atmosphere where the air is spreading out instead of converging and sinking, squashing cloud development and thunderstorm development. A positive MJO phase helps to enhance that, so we'll be watching to see if that comes to fruition. In the meantime, flooding continues in eastern North Carolina as a result of Hurricane Matthew's excessive rains. As an example, if we look at Kinston here in the hydrograph, water levels approaching Hurricane Floyd. That's the black line up there that says record 27.7. That was back in September 1999. This could get close. We'll have to watch because that's still several days away. It could be lower, it could be higher, and I will be watching this closely as well. There's other areas, for example, down here, the Cape Fear River near Chinkapin, and there's places in South Carolina as well. Try to click on a couple of those for you. All the areas in purple are flood gauges that are in major flood stage right now and are expected to remain that way for the foreseeable future. For example, the Waccamaw River near Conway, luckily below the flood of record, but look, it stays above flood stage there for the next several days, just gradually rising. So, you know, this is an ongoing problem long after the hurricane has passed by. Up here in Lumberton, this is where the Weather Channel, Jim Cantori, were reporting from today, well above the flood of record there, and forecast to remain that way through the weekend and then slowly start to come down. Just a bad situation up there, to be sure, and that's going to linger. These are the impacts from hurricanes that people, you focus on the wind and the storm surge, and those are important, absolutely, but this inland flooding situation is something that catches people by surprise. And unfortunately, it has again resulted in loss of life, most of it from flooding. It's unacceptable, and we have to do a better job at reaching more people and explaining to them you cannot ignore the rain risk. I mention it often on these videos and the ones that I do for hurricanetrack.com and for our app, and people just need to get it. I don't know what to do. Maybe reach the children first like we did with the old seatbelt thing starting in the 80s, I guess it was. I don't know. Kind of on a rant there, but it bothers me when there's loss of life, because I think in this day and age that we know these hurricanes are coming, the loss of life should be zero. Absolutely. All right. Sorry to end on a sour note, but it is what it is, and hopefully with awareness and more social media interaction, people will get the message, and we can try to get that number to zero. All right. Have a great rest of your Monday afternoon. I'll be keeping a watch on everything out there, including Nicole, and we'll see what happens with that. If you're in Bermuda, be ready for it. All right. I am Mark Sudduth, hurricanetrack.com, and of course for Hurricane Pro and HD, and I'll talk to you again later in the week.